Carl and Brendan here from Games, Brains and Head-Banging Life, gbhblofficial.com for short. Reaction time! Checking out the Imperator from the definitely not a power metal band, Dragonknight. Immediately, come on, man. It's the first single taken from the debut album Legions, which is released on January 17th via Scarlet Records. So, as of the time of recording, tomorrow. But by the time you see this, last week. So do make sure you check that out already. I know this has been reviewed by you. I already know a lot,
Yep.
at least that detail as well, but I haven't had a chance to listen to anything. When it's until it comes out, I wouldn't anyway. But yeah, so I'll let you kind of fill us in here with this one.
Yeah, well, you're right. It's power metal, of course. New band, conceptual band from Finland, but made up from a bunch of seasoned Finnish metal veterans. Although we don't,
Hmm.
or I'm sure many people do, but I don't know who they are because all the pictures that came along with the album review, they had face coverings on, and the names of the artists were given as like Lord this, Lord that. So. They could be anybody. Could be anybody. And we're not going to get any clues in this video either because it's a lyric video. I imagine they're not going to suddenly unveil themselves or anything like that. So, um, good album. Really, really cool. Very, very much enjoyed it. It is, I think I said in my review, not really bending the genre in any particular way, just a very good example of power metal and, a really, really strong debut.
Yep.
A lot of cool songs in it that I like a lot. It does everything that you expect across a power metal album, to be honest with you. There are some faster ones. There's even a song called Pirates, Bloody Pirates, but it is not a pirate shanty, which is like really cool. Actually, I was very, very happy when I listened to that one. I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah,
Um,
because immediately it caused panic when any of the pirates are mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, musically, like the story wise, they are obviously kind of conceptual to a degree, but they're not trying to tell like a passage in history or anything like that. I think they're just focusing around warriors, ancient kind of famed warriors and sort of famous warrior types. Like in this one, obviously, the Imperator is about the Roman army, so I think Imperators were like generals or some sort of like senior position. But
What was everybody like on a Roman kick? So like this is Call It Timing, but I reviewed an EP last week. It's only just come out by XDO, and it's an EP, 4 tracks called "The Year of the Four Emperors," and it's a specific point in Roman history where there were four emperors in one year. I ended up reading up loads about it. Really, really cool. But
mm.
seriously, this is Roman shit as well. God
But
damn.
this song is the album isn't specifically
Yeah.
Rome or the Roman army or conquest based. Um, I mean, it's one of those to listen to. The things I like the most about this is like, firstly, aside from the fact that I like power metal a lot, and I think this is a great example of power metal, I really like the vocals and I like the way they're sung, which like in terms of like the kind of flow of them, the melodies that they use, like within it, especially in things like pre-choruses, building up to choruses. So for me, like I listen to it. I like the album a lot. This song is the one at the moment that I spend the most time on, but there are a lot of good
Really.
songs in the album, so I expect that to kind of continue to evolve. You know.
Right. Okay. All right. Let's do this then, because I am not familiar with, and let's see if it is as big. You built up quite high now, so this is interesting. All right. Let's do this. It's the Imperator by Dragon Knight. Three, two, one, go. Oh, it's one of these lyric videos.
It's
You
good one.
put more effort in than most people do in videos.
Listens in the light. There's an army eager to fight, waiting for their leader. No fear or restless minds. Only the brave will last the night. So sound the bells, beat the drum for the one now appearing. Majesty.
Well, the first thing I've realized now,
Fucking
thanks for that video,
nerds.
is, is that it's not actually Roman history as I was hearing it when I was just listening to it without the hearing them singing about legions and the general and the Imperator, whereas it's obviously more within their worlds of like an Imperator general leading the dragon sort of army into battle, as you do.
All right. Well, I mean, yeah, still fucking nerdy. God, that
We're
I
all
feel
fucking nerds here.
no, man, this is a different kind of nerd, man. This is like I always thought like I'm a nerd, but I'm not like a tabletop like dice nerd. Like that's a different level of that's a different nerd. And these are those kind of nerds. I am a different kind of nerd. Not trying to say I'm better or worse or anything like that, but it's a different kind of nerd. And this fantasy stuff, I've not always got on with, particularly when it is all like, yeah, let's go fight dragons and shit like that. It's all a bit boring to me for me personally. And lyrically, god damn, that was boring. Huh. If I was just reading the lyrics, no, I'm just talking about if I was reading them. Like I had no context, no music, no voice, and that's a wonderful voice, silky smooth. But if that was just words, I'd be like, ugh, I ain't touching that. And especially when it's coming, but like I said, thankfully, that's just the lyrics. Like, so hearing them sung and the way they're sung, and particularly the kind of pacing and the sort of statement like way of it is. It was like a lot of it's almost so like particularly early on, it's quite slow and sort of spoken to a certain degree, but it's got this candor where it's still sung, so it still sounds really smooth to your ear. And you got levels, he's got up high, and he's dropping the low, and it still feels like singing, but it doesn't feel like singing. It's quite a unique little flavor in my head. And
Mm.
I was surprised how long the quite kind of slower tempo kept up because it's a power metal song, and I'm waiting for that and off we go, like screeching into the darkness. But it kind of kept that boom, boom, bombastic kind of beat going on a lot longer than expected. There is obviously a flare up at the end, but what I thought was interesting, it felt like the drums was leading that for the most part. It's the drums that are going a lot faster and heavier than necessarily like the vocals or anything like that. They hit another higher point. But I thought, particularly here at the end, the variation was welcome because we have gone 4 minutes, let's have a little change at the end. That was cool. It holds my attention because it does have like layers of like cinematic edge to it. That is like only we get lazy and we go, oh, we just call everything symphonic and stuff like that. And it's like sometimes I like to differentiate between that and what I see as cinematic, which is could this be played in a film behind a scene and would that work? And I think yes, here's a great example of it. While it was playing, got bored with the reading those terrible lyrics, so I went looking to see if I could find out the band members' names. You're right, I can't because all we had is Lord Griffin, Lord Caratos, Lord Solarius, Lord Othracius, and the vocalist is Lord Salo Khan. You fucking nerds, man! That is worse. Like it's like season finish. I know I want to know who they are because it's the whole season finish thing that's really got me interested. And we are seeing more and more sort of super groups that are quite unique turn up, and it's like, oh, I wonder if it's like someone really unexpected behind in these certain roles. But I like what they're doing. You can clearly tell they're likely to have come, at least some of them, from bands that don't play this kind of music. That maybe the bands they normally play in or played in the past are heavier. And so they've gone, well, look, we're going to do power metal, we're going to do symphonic power metal, and we're going to kind of lean into that. And it's going to sound this way. We're going to touch upon fantasy subjects that maybe that are dearer to the heart and all of that. And it works. And clearly they know how to do it because he put together a track like this that I think is really well structured. And it is power metal through and through. Like you're not going to confuse it with anything else. But I think it's got enough interesting little touches here and there that just make it a little bit more fun and interesting and more likely to kind of come back and want to hear another track by them. I think that's important. And like I said, although I was critical of the lyrics at the start, I must stress that's only when not like having the context of having them sung or at me the way they are here. I like his voice. It's very smooth, very silky. He has a close point at the end where he goes like really high, but it feels more power metal than less of like screechy, old school heavy metal.
Yeah,
So yeah, I like that. I like it as a track. I wouldn't say I love it, but I like it. Yeah.
that's okay. I'll take like. I think it's interesting that like actually 'cause I put it in the review and it was a statement that came from them, but essentially it's what you kind of picked up on anyway, which is like I guess what they were trying to create is that this is power metal in its most cinematic form. Yeah,
Mm.
so that's what they were attempting to achieve, and obviously that's what you kind of picked up on, as in like yeah, it comes across as cinematic. Obviously, you know, I come into these things like you do sometimes when we're nominating reactions and having been able to listen to a song in the context of a whole album as well. You know,
Course.
so which obviously can, especially probably more so in power metal, I think, than anything else, where often there's a story element, or character element or something like that that comes along. This song, which is the third or fourth track on the album, which comes after, again, very, very typical power metal, but like a more symphonic introduction, then the title track of the album, which is no, it's not the title track. Sorry, it's a combination of the words of the title track. It's called Legions of the. Oh my god, I've forgotten what it's called. Legions of the Unknown Dragon Horde or something like that. Anyway, but
Yeah.
and that is your really sort of fast and fiery, like, oh bloody hell, this is going to be a quick one. And then this song comes next, and it's like, oh, okay, these guys are bringing variety with it as well. But for me, like the big selling point, the one that has me coming back to it is, well, I like it I like it a lot as a song. I think it's a very good power metal song. What I said at the beginning, I didn't say it was game changing or genre bending or anything like that. It's good power metal. But I really like his voice, and I like that the way that he delivers the vocals in, especially in that pre-chorus bit, you know, when it goes into that, oh, so glorious and all that sort of stuff, you know, and he starts building up and building up. The dude can sing.
Oh yeah, no question.
But yeah.
Yeah, no question. I don't want to sort of be in any way, shape, or form. It's really, you know what? Sometimes power metal is some of the hardest ones to react to, because particularly power metal when we are getting it in its sort of like just not its basic form, but it's more obvious form, where even a non-listener of this style would recognize it immediately as a power metal track.
Yeah.
I like, because it's like, how much can you stretch like into? Well, yeah, it sounds like this, it looks like this, it feels like this, and that is that. I think this has got a little bit more going on overall. I think it's notable if you listen to it, and I think that's important. As much as I can sit here and say, oh, power metal in its most base form, I think this just has little enough touches here and there, whether it be vocally, whether it be via the drums, whether it be the fact that the tempo is slower and stays that way, like a kind of marching beat almost to a degree for such a long period of time. That's what makes it more memorable. I won't necessarily say 6 months' time I'd remember this track, but I think for a couple of weeks, it's definitely like, it's not gonna. I will remember the chorus. I will certainly remember the way he sings certain lines. So like that's a positive, I guess. I think that's the biggest positive of it, really. Yeah. All right, that's the Imperator by Dragonknight. You got any thoughts on this one? You know what to do? Let us know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed what you've seen, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. It does help us out. You can find us at gbhbl.com and across all social media platforms. And if you really want to give us a bit of extra support, please consider buying us a cup of coffee over on our coffee page. Thank you.